When you work with a Gutenberg block editor, sooner or later, you're going to be installing plugins, and that many of these plugins will give you a whole package of blocks to add to what's there by default. Let me give you an example. Now, all of these are deactivated, but I'm just going to run through some of these real quick, like atomic blocks, as you see over here. That gives you like 20 blocks, or co-blocks. I don't know how many, maybe 15 or 20. And you're not necessarily going to use them all. Maybe you're going to use one or two of these. And let's see, ultimate blocks and ultimate add-ons. So some of these will just give you more blocks than you really need. Well, in comes the Gutenberg block directory. And I'm going to show you how to use this right now. So let's go over here to posts, all posts. And the block directory solves a problem. The problem being when you install one of these plugins that has like 20, 30, 40 blocks and you only need one. Well, how do we just get the one? So I have a post here, block directory. Let's click on the inserter. And we start with the premise that not every possible block we want is going to be listed here. Let's go looking for something that we don't have. Let's look, for example, at a gallery. And you can see, oh, it gives you like an Instagram gallery and a couple others. Each one of these is its own unique plugin that just gives us one block. And you'll see in a second, it's very easy to install. So here's another example. Let's just do slider. So I look for slider. Okay, no, so I don't have a slider block, but now through the block directory, it gives me some options that I could add a slider to my site. Well, I don't want to add any slider. The one I want to use for a demonstration is an accordion. Okay, and it goes looking out there, and we find a bunch of choices here. And you could read through each one, and you can see like what day it was last updated and how many installs. Now, you're probably not going to see too many installs because this is still relatively new as of this recording. And a lot of people just don't know about it, but this is a big part of Gutenberg's future. So I'm going to pick this one over here and just say add block. And not only did it install, but it also put the block right into my page. So wow, just one click, I already have the block to use. So this is an accordion. If you don't know what an accordion is, you'll know in a second. You've seen it 1,000 times before. And one example of how it could be used is, let's say, on an FAQ page. So over here, I'm going to just type in this is my question. Let's type this in correctly. Okay, and let's do this as an answer. Okay, and I am going to also go right above here. Let's click out of there and let's just click into here and fix that because I don't want to be wrong, okay, about that. Oh, I don't know why I'm having such a hard time. All right, perfect. Okay. So now I've got my first question and answer, but you know, in an FAQ page, how you have like multiple questions and answers. So I'm just going to make this nice and simple. I'm going to duplicate this block just by going over here, duplicate, and one more. So I'll have 3 questions and 3 answers. And now, because I'm curious to see how this really works on the page, I'm going to update the page and I am going to preview it. And here it is. That's exactly how, like an FAQ. Of course, you would edit the wording here because it wouldn't be the same question and answer for all 3. But that's how an accordion looks and works. Now, you might say, well, you know what? I really don't like the way this accordion looks at all. Can I do something better? Because this looks kind of simple. All right, let's take a look. So we go back to the inserter and we say, let's look for another accordion. Oh, well, that's because I've already installed an accordion. Yeah, but weren't there like 4 or 5 accordion choices before? Yeah. So now what do? Okay, here's where you have to pay a little bit of attention. It's not that difficult, but watch this. So we want to go over here to the three dots, the three vertical dots up in the upper right. Click on that, and all the way down here where it says Block Manager, we want to manage our blocks. And I'm going to search for accordion. And sure enough, it's here. I wanted deselect it. So I deselect it. I can X out. It's deselected. And now I'm going to go back to the inserter and check out accordion. Ah, they're all back again. Okay, that's really interesting. Now, I've already installed I've only installed the first one, but I want to choose this one over here. Just one. It also says accordion. Okay, so kind of confusing, but add. And what do you know? I've got a new accordion block. So I have this one over here that I did before. Now this one over here, this is nice because it already sets it up as your first three. Of course, you could add, edit, and so forth. Let's just take a look at how this works. Oh, this is great. Okay. And of course, you would just go and jump in here with your cursor and change all the text in there because this is just dummy text. Now, what's nice about this too is that there's more controls that you can do with this particular block. What do I mean by that? Upper right-hand corner, the gear icon, and you can see now the block that you're using here, it is accordion. It's got its own little icon over there to make it easy to identify. This apparently also has a toggle feature too, but we're just going to stay with this. You can add or remove the items. You can do lots more with this. You can actually work on typography, you can do tab style, you can do all kinds of things. So here's where you would go to edit the colors, make some changes. The other one, let's go back to the other one, the first one that I demonstrated. It's much simpler. So yeah, here you can see it's a different icon over here. And so this is an accordion block, but it's just got a few little controls. It's pretty simple. Now I said each one of these blocks is its own single-purpose plugin. Let's have a look at the plugins page. And sure enough, you can see these are two different blocks that I just installed. Now, what was nice about it is I didn't have to go to the plugins page. I didn't have to click add new or anything like that. I did it directly through the Gutenberg inserter interface. Very cool, very nice. And definitely, like I said, a big part of Gutenberg's future. But now you can say, well, I really don't want these at all. What do I do? Well, you can just go over here and just let's deactivate these. Okay, and now I'm also going to delete them because I really don't want to use them. Of course, then the question gets to be, well, what happens to the accordions? Well, let's have a look. Which is what I expected, just error messages. The fact is that this content, in other words, the two accordions, need those two accordion plugins. But I'm not going to use this anymore, so I'm just going to get rid of it. And the easiest way to get rid of it would be just to do this. And let's just remove it like this. And we'll do the same thing over here real quick. And yep, let's just get rid of all these really quick. All right, let me do one more demonstration, and that is I'm going to use a countdown block. Again, rather than download a plugin that's got 15 different blocks, one of them which would be, let's say, the countdown block, I can just get the countdown block. So how do I do that? Let's go over here again to the inserter and search for a countdown block. If you're not sure what a countdown block is, it's a timer. It tells you how many days, hours, minutes to an event. Let's just look for a countdown block. Now, if the countdown block were here, it would just show up automatically in my inserter, but what I'm getting is, hey, it's not there. I'm getting directed to the block directory, and there's two options I have to use. I'm going to go with this first one over here. And what do you know? here it is, the countdown. So I have to, of course, put in the days and so forth. So for that, I'm going to figure out, well, where do I do this? Now, sometimes you click into this and no, that doesn't work. And sometimes you look over here in the toolbox. But don't forget, you've got the gear or the cog to click on. Here's where the settings will be found for this block, which is the case in most blocks. Anyway, I'm going to look over here and just, hey, how many days? So let's say the event is on the 22nd of February. I click on that, and what do you know? And if I just fold this up over here, I can see I have other settings here. Do I want to display the days, or do I want to display the hours, the minutes, and so forth? I'm just going to leave all that alone. But what's sort of nice about this particular countdown block is that it's got a lot of different settings over here in terms of styling and so forth, which I'm not going to get into, but this is kind of a nice block. Now, you might say, oh, I just don't even like this block at all. That's very possible. What do we do about this? I just can't go back to the inserter and type in countdown, because if I do, it's going to just take me to that. Okay, so I want a different one. So this is no good. So what do I do? Well, let me first back out of this, okay, and undo all this. Or better yet, let's just delete this block. And I'm also going to delete this block. And as I did earlier, I'm going to go over to the 3 dots, go into the block manager, and type in countdown. Okay, and I'm going to deactivate it. And by doing that, when I go search for the countdown block, again, I get my 2 choices, and this time I'm going to choose the other one. And it's got a different style and a different look, and that's fine. And I'm going to just leave this right where it is. Okay? Let's just update. And as usual, you can just go over here to the cog and make your changes and so forth, the adjustments. So what you've just seen is how to use the block directory to add a particular single-purpose plugin, actually a block, into your pages, and how to manage all of that. And that way you're not stuck with just the default Gutenberg blocks, or with a situation where you're adding lots of plugins that add lots of blocks that you're never going to need.